sit in it? You wanna go sit? Is it wet? My name is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here for Vlogmas week 4 and it's Wednesday, my dudes. I haven't been able to do a first update for this vlog yet until today because things are just kind of crazy for me right now. My sister and brother-in-law are staying with me and I included B-roll clips from last night. And I've had work the past couple of days, but yeah, last night, my sister and brother-in-law took me out to dinner to celebrate my birthday, which was last week. And then we went to Bricado's, which is this Italian dessert place. They have gelato and all kinds of baked goods, as you saw from the B-roll. So that was a lot of fun. And then today we went to lunch with some family members, and now I'm finally back home. It's just about 3:30 right now, and I actually have this package right here with me. I have no clue what this is. The return address says House of Mouse, so I'm assuming this is going to be something Disney related. I have no idea. I'm thinking this might be from My Secret Santa, because yeah, I have no idea who this would be from. Oh, so this is from Lacey. Is this Lacey from Lacey Book Lovers? I'm gonna have to message her to find out. She just said, "Merry Christmas, Rachel. I know how much you love Wicked, so I had to get you this." So, this is beautiful. Oh my God. It's like a Starbucks tumbler, but it has Wicked on it, and it's like this really cool green straw, and it says, "Everyone deserves the chance to fly." Oh my God. Thank you so much, Lacey. I'm definitely gonna get some use out of this. So cool. So, reading update, I have 3 books to talk about because I finished 2 yesterday and then I just started another book today. So I finished Dear Monster Claws. These are both books that I mentioned at the end of last week's vlog, by the way. So this is about Zoe, spelled XO. She's a Cupid. And then we have Arson, who is Santa Claus, but in this world, there's a family of Santas and they're all dragon people, like dragon shifters, kind of. It's very interesting. And then there's a family of Cupids. So Zoe is one of many Cupids, basically. And so Zoe just desperately wants to find love this year. She's just kind of fed up with only making matches for other people. So she writes several letters to Santa, and so Arson sees these letters and he's very intrigued about who this woman could be, and so he just shows up at her house and they're both insanely attracted to each other, and so they decide to make this deal where he will help her find love by first giving her sex lessons, which you all should know. That's one of my favorite tropes ever. And in exchange for that, she will help him find his Christmas spirit because he is just fed up with being Santa. He's just not a huge fan of Christmas in general and the job and all of that. And so this was adorable. I gave it 4 stars. Very sexy for sure. Just a fun time if you're looking for a Christmas monster romance, you know, and I really love the artwork on this cover. I just think that it's perfect for the characters and the story and everything. And then I also finished Shameless Duke by Scarlett Scott. This is book 4 in her League of Dukes series. So this is a series that centers around all of the heroes are a part of the Special League, which is like this spy organization for the crown. And so Lucian is our hero, and after the events of book 3, he is now getting a partner assigned to him. He's never had to have a partner before in his detective work. And so he definitely isn't happy about that. And so his partner is supposed to be someone named H.E. Montgomery. They show up, lo and behold, H.E. Montgomery is actually Hazel. She is a woman, and he's definitely taken aback by that. So they do not start off on the best of terms by any means. And I was just obsessed with this kind of bickering and bantering animosity between the two of them. And they're both just very strong and independent people and very guarded for sure. And I really enjoy romances where both people are very guarded for different reasons. So overall, I really enjoyed this. I gave this one 4 stars. It wasn't my absolute favorite of the series. I do think the bickering kind of animosity between the two of them dissipated a bit abruptly. Like, I would have liked that to have been like a smoother arc or a smoother transition. And I also wasn't nearly as invested in the mystery suspenseful plot as I was in the 3 previous books of this series. Like, this was just, it was just okay. I really loved some of the swoony things that Lucian said to Hazel in particular. And there were just some really sweet scenes where they would open up to each other and be vulnerable. I think that Scarlett Scott writes that really well, because that's definitely a common theme with all of the books that I've read by her so far. And she also brings the steam. She brings the spice. There were definitely at least like 2 or 3 like full sex scenes in this, and they were very well done. So I'm excited to continue on with the series. I did buddy read this with Ava, and I think she had similar feelings as I did. I think we both gave this 4 stars. I just started The Duke and the Lady in Red by Lorraine Heath. This is a historical romance that I've heard Jess rave about. So I'm very excited. I'm just about 10% in. I've read 2 chapters, so not very much at all. But this one follows Rosalind, who is, she's taking care of her brother. She's basically like a swindler. It sounds like she shows up to different towns and scams people out of their money, and then she skips town before anyone can catch her. And it sounds like this is her way of supporting herself and her brother. And then we have the Duke of Avondale, who is our hero. And so they met at this very scandalous club that Drake, the hero from the previous book in the series, owns. And so they had a passionate moment, but then she left because she can't afford to get too close to people that she's trying to scam, basically. And then her younger brother, Harry, he seems to have some kind of disability. I don't really know what yet is going on with him. So that's gonna be it for this reading update. I'm about to go take a nap, and then tonight I'm going to watch The Muppet Christmas Carol with my really good friend Melanie. This has become a Christmas yearly tradition for us to watch this together. Still my top favorite adaptation of A Christmas Carol. It's so well done. If you haven't watched it, like, what are you doing? Everyone, here is your daily dose of Lena Lou. If you didn't watch last week's vlog, she is my sister and brother-in-law's dog. So she's my little niece, and I just wanted her to say hi. And she's very cozied up today. She's got her scarf, she's got her hoodie on because it's very cold. I'm actually gonna put her down because I don't think she wants to talk to the camera, huh? You just want to go stay warm on your bed, huh? But I feel like it's been a while since I've talked to you guys, since I've updated. There's Lena. Because, yeah, I did an update on Wednesday. Today's now Friday, December 23rd. Merry Christmas Eve Eve. I'm going to be extra and say that. So, yeah, it's cold. outside. So I live in southeast Louisiana, for those of you that don't know. It's very unusual for us to get temperatures below, I would say, the upper 30s in winter, but we had a cold front come through. I don't know, there's something going on, and we have now reached temperatures as low as 27 or 26, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a hard freeze. I had to make sure that all of the pipes at this house were wrapped, and I even got these little like faucet covers to cover all the faucets on the outside of the house and all of that, so that the pipes don't burst and all that yikes stuff. But yeah, I've never had to do that before because it's the first time I'm living by myself since we've gotten a hard freeze like this. So yeah, it's cold outside, and the thing about Louisiana cold is that it's very humid here. So when it gets cold, it's like a wet, bone-chilling cold. Like, I can handle really, really cold temperatures up north where it's drier, but down here it is miserable. So yeah, definitely avoiding going outside as much as possible. But let's give you an update. I wish that I had more time this week to give you guys like daily updates, but because I have my sister and brother-in-law staying with me, I'm not alone in this house all that often, and I really feel self-conscious filming with them in the house when I'm talking about smutty romance novels. Like, let's be real. But I have a very exciting package from my amazing friend Mel from Mel Binds Fix. So I recently co-hosted the fanfiction readathon with her, Tiffany from Tiff Talks Pages, and Jen from the Book Refuge. She organized the readathon, and so Mel decided to be extra sweet, and for that readathon she actually gifted me and Tiffany a bind up of Manacled by Sen Lin Yu, which is absolutely my favorite book of the year, my favorite fan fiction that I've read so far. And so for Christmas she decided to gift us 2 more fics. Oh my god, this is Contradictions by Ampersand. This is a Dramini fanfic, and this is literally one of the best BDSM romances I have ever read. And if you are new to reading BDSM romance, like, you have to read this. I will be sure to find the links for both of these fics and put them down in the description, because I know sometimes it's a bit hard to navigate Archive of Our Own, which is the site that I use to find fanfics. Oh my goodness. So I have to show you the naked hardcover. Like, are we kidding right now? This is velvet. At first I thought this was suede, but no, it's velvet. Oh, what? Oh my god, she sent me 2 more fics. I thought this was just 1. Oh my god, oh my god. Okay, so first of all, she sent me Safe Word is Devil's Snare, which is another fantastic BDSM romance, but this one is a Hermione and Neville fic. Oh my goodness. Let me show you the naked hardback. Oh, Mel, are we joking? This is also like a black, this one might be suede actually, now that I'm feeling it. Oh my god. But yeah, I loved this fic. I read this for the fanfiction readathon. What? Mel, this is like the best Christmas gift ever. I'm deceased. And last but certainly not least, we have Sex and Occlumency. Oh my goodness. I have not read this one yet, but I'm very excited. I thought this was a lot longer than it actually is, so this will actually be a pretty quick read. And this is also like a suede material. Oh my god, Mel! I have 3 books that I've read since I last talked to you guys. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the 2 novellas that I read, and then I'll get to The Duke and the Lady in Red, which is a full-length novel, and I did talk about that one in my last update. But first of all, I read The Silent Night by Cassie Mint. This is book 2 in her Very Merry Mob romance novella series. I gave this 3 stars, just like I gave book 1 in this series, which is very sad because, like, come on, Christmas romance plus Mafia romance, like, those should be a match made in heaven. But I am just not loving these romances so far, unfortunately. I want to read, there's 2 more novellas in this series, and I do want to read those because I've heard pretty good things. Like, they have pretty good ratings on Goodreads, but I'm definitely a bit underwhelmed by this series so far. But this novella in particular is about Raoul, who is the doctor for this mob, and then Allegra, who is the younger sister to the mob boss that they all answer to. And so they end up, it's a forced proximity romance, they end up staying in the safe house together. And it's kind of like a second chance romance because when Allegra was 18 some years ago, she tried kissing Raoul. She had this huge crush on him and he just pushed her away. And so then they get together in present day, and like, it was just fine. You know, I've read so many better romances from Cassie Mint that this one is just meh to me. And then last night I read The Christmas Courtesan by Victoria Vale. So this one had a really cool plot to it. We have our heroine Miranda. She is a widow. And then we have Roger, who is the younger brother to a viscount, and they are in a lot of debt. His older brother has misused their funds, and so they need money for their younger sister's dowry. So through different conversations that he has in the beginning of the book with several different people, he decides that the best way for him to earn a lot of money in a pretty short amount of time is to be a male courtesan. And so what's also interesting about Roger is that he's a virgin hero. We love a virgin hero. And he also has a speech impediment. He has a stutter. And he's just a very sweet man. But because he's a virgin, he's like, I don't even think I'd be a good courtesan because I don't have experience. Like, he knows how sex works because he's read a lot of literature and looked at pictures, you know, paintings and things like that. But, you know, he doesn't have the experience. But the man who's in charge of the agency tells Roger that that's probably going to be a plus for some of the women that are looking for courtesans. So he ends up getting matched up with Miranda. She ends up inquiring about this courtesan agency because her and her friends were talking about how, like, one of their mutual friends has used the service and they don't think that it's real. And so they're like, hey, Miranda, why don't you try using it and see, like, what's up? So yeah, Miranda and Roger get matched up, and this was just a really sweet, kind of awkward romance because Roger is very shy and awkward because of his stutter. He doesn't want to talk very much because he doesn't want that to be evident. He doesn't want that to be obvious to people because people in the ton in society can be very cruel. And so it's just really sweet how the two of them get to know each other. And this was sexy, but you know, this is like a 100-page novella, maybe a little bit over 100 pages. I think I expected like a bit more sex, especially because I've heard that Victoria Vale writes pretty much like erotic historical romances. Like, they're very, very sexy. So I think I expected a little bit more from this steam-wise, but it was good. Pretty low angst for the most part as well. I will say that I started getting a bit bored, I would say from like the 70% mark to the end. So when I updated you guys the other day, I was just about 10% in. And so basically what happened, this is still the beginning of the book, so it's not a spoiler. I'm sure this is in the synopsis. Okay, so we have Rose as a swindler. So she does that to support herself and her younger brother, who is physically disabled. He's not mentally disabled, he's physically disabled. I wanted to make that distinction because I wasn't sure going into this. And so she meets the Duke of Avondale, whose name is Benjamin, but he doesn't like being called by his given name, so he's called Avondale the whole novel. And so she ends up swindling him out of quite a lot of money, and so she's trying to skip town. So she's trying to like gather all her things, where they're staying, where her and her brother and her friends are staying, and uh-oh, Avondale shows up, and he's pissed, understandably so. So he decides to make a deal with her that she can keep the money that she fleeced from him, but she has to spend an entire week with him in his bed. So you know, we've got two morally gray main characters, which I enjoy. I love morally gray characters. I will say it felt like just a little bit icky to me. The whole first half of this book, I wasn't all that invested because Avondale, I didn't love him. He's very, very emotionally unavailable. Lorraine Heath writes a lot of heroes like that. That's why I kind of hated book 1 in this series, When the Duke Was Wicked. I gave that book like 2.5 stars because the hero in that, Duke of Lovingdon, was very, very emotionally unavailable, and I hate heroes like that. There's just a point where it becomes too much for me. And so it felt a little icky to me because it was just like he only wanted Rose for her body. And it just felt like she was a possession, yet another possession of his. And I liked Rose, I didn't love her. So the whole first half I was like, I don't know about this book. Like there were points where I even considered putting it down, just like DNFing it, because I just didn't love either of the main characters. I wasn't invested in their romance. I wasn't all that invested in their sex scenes or anything like that. Then right around the 50% mark, the plot of this changes quite a bit, and whoa, I was so invested from there to the end, because basically Harry, who is Rose's younger brother, becomes much more of a major character as Avondale comes to meet him, and his disabilities become more and more of a hindrance. And this book gets very emotional. Hoo boy, I understand now why Jess said that she cried, because I cried several times. Well, I teared up several times, and then at the end I cried. Like it was to a point where I was like sobbing, crying, because of the direction the story went in with Harry. And oh my God, I loved his character so much just because he's such a pure soul. He's just such a sweet man who has been misjudged all his life and hasn't received all of the love that he deserves. So his story is very tragic for sure, and very, very sad. And so another reason why I liked the second half of this book more is because we saw that through meeting Harry, Avondale became more emotionally available. He became a friend to Harry, and Avondale sets up these really cool outings for them. Like they go out on a hot air balloon, they go to the theater, and Rose is just concerned that, you know, people are going to see him and make fun of him because that's what he's dealt with his whole life. And so Avondale makes sure that that's not the case, that if he is around people, it's around like his friends, like people who wouldn't judge him. And so, yeah, the second half was really beautiful. And something I will say is that it wasn't until pretty much the very end that I was convinced that Rose and Avondale like truly, truly loved each other. I think it's because like they're both emotionally stunted in ways. Definitely Avondale more so. He's got things going on with his past. I mean, they both do. But throughout most of the story, I was like, I don't really see why these two people are like so obsessed with each other. It just felt like a physical relationship more than anything. But then towards the very end, it makes sense. You really do feel the love between these two people. And yeah, so I ended up giving this like 4.5 stars. It's definitely not a 5-star read for me because, like I said, the whole first half of this was a bit like to me. Like I wasn't really sure about this book. And I will say it felt a little bit like Harry's character was thrown into the story because Rose and Avondale's characters weren't enough, you know? Like there needed to be another element in the story, so Lorraine Heath wrote Harry into the story. Because I'm telling you, he added so much to this book. If he wasn't in this book at all, like this book probably would have been like a 3-star, maybe even like a 2-star read for me. I don't know, I have so many conflicting feelings about this book, but I do think it felt a little bit like Lorraine Heath wrote this disabled character to like emotionally manipulate the reader as well, and I don't think I love that. But I do think she wrote his character well. Like, I don't know. It didn't feel insensitive or anything like that. But at the same time, I did feel a little bit emotionally manipulated. I don't know. I don't know. As you can tell, I have very conflicting thoughts about this book. I wanted this to be like a 5-star perfect read. I wanted this to be one of my favorite historical romances of the year, but unfortunately that's not the case. I've been talking for way too long. I'm just now realizing that. I'm gonna go eat some lunch. It's almost 1 o'clock. I have a Christmas party tonight for work, and then I'm gonna jump into Mafia Madman by Mila Finelli. Oh my God, I am so excited. I got the audiobook a few days ago from my library. I'm so excited for Enzo's romance. Oh my God. I've heard this is just absolutely unhinged, even more unhinged than the first 2 books, Mafia Mistress and Mafia Darling of this series. And I'm so excited. I am obsessed with this series. Book 4, Mafia Target, is coming out in March. That's gonna be Giulio's story. It's gonna be an MM romance. I cannot wait for that. Like, these books are so hot, twisted, you know, definitely darker romances, and like I'm absolutely addicted. So definitely gonna jump into this at some point today. Merry Christmas Eve, everyone. I'm very excited about today because today is just gonna be so chill, and I have the house to myself probably for most of the day. I get to just read and do whatever I want. I feel like I've had something going on every single day this past week, or like this past 10 days or so. So it's just really nice to be able to just sit back and relax and do whatever the hell I want. So I don't have any parties or anything to go to tonight, and I'm totally fine with it. In case that's not obvious, and in case you don't know, I am an introvert, and I love having my space, living by myself. Like, this is the best situation for me. So yeah, I'm just very excited about all the reading that I'm gonna get done today. So I have 2 books that I want to talk to you guys about. So all day yesterday, I was reading and listening to the audiobook for Mafia Madman by Mila Finelli. Oh my God, I loved this book so much. I had to give it 5 stars. Which I'm very excited about because the first 2 books of this series, which are Mafia Mistress and Mafia Darling, those were like almost 5-star reads for me, but they didn't quite get there. This book, however, 5 stars, and I knew it was gonna be 5 stars from like the moment I started it. So this is a series that you should read in order, because other than the romantic plots, there's a whole Italian mafia plot that is interweaved throughout the series as a whole. So yeah, you definitely need to start with books 1 and 2, and those 2 books are also about a different couple. So this book is about Enzo, and he is a mafia boss, a mob boss, and it's a captor-captive romance. So he ends up kidnapping Gia, who is the sister of the heroine from book 1, because he has had this feud with Fausto, the hero from book 1, for like years and years and years. They're both mafia bosses, and they've done horrible things to each other and to each other's loved ones, especially recently. And so yeah, for revenge, he kidnaps Gia. And I mean, I'm gonna be real, this story definitely is fucked up and twisted at times, but I was so addicted. I could not stop reading this book. So just to give you an example, like, he kidnaps her, takes her on his yacht. The first part of this book, he literally keeps her in a cage naked, you know, as one does, I guess. But I was just obsessed with this relationship between Gia and Enzo because of the way that they both challenge each other in the best way. And you see throughout the book that they really are perfect for each other. Also, this book is crazy hot. Oh my goodness, the sex scenes in this, like, Mila Finelli, you know what you're doing. And I'm also obsessed with this author's books because I know who Mila Finelli is a pen name for. I'm not gonna tell you. All I will say is that they are one of my top favorite historical romance authors. That's the only hint you're gonna get. And I just love that this author is just like having a fun time writing these bonkers mafia romances, you know? You can just tell that they're having fun, you know? The audiobooks for this series are also very well done. Highly recommend them because the male narrator, I'm obsessed with his voice. And yeah, I thought this was amazing. Like the perfect kind of over the top, ridiculous and sexy mafia romance. And there's a bit of some good groveling at the end because of course Enzo fucks up at the end and has to get Gia back. And I am so excited for book 4, Mafia Target, because that's going to be an MM romance between Giulio and Alessio. And if you've read this series, you know who those characters are. And oh my God, I am so excited. Because the plot of that one is that Alessio is hired by Enzo to kill Giulio. So that's gonna be amazing. And then the other book I wanna talk about, I'm 15% of the way through How the Duke Saved Christmas by Anna Harrington. This came recommended by Lisa from Remarkably Lisa, who I run the Blushing Blue Stocking Society book club with. She featured this in a video all about icy heroines and historical romances specifically, I think. And I love a good grumpy icy heroine. I tend to relate to those kind of heroines the most. Just throwing that out there. And this is about Clara, our heroine, who a couple years before this book starts, she was in a very, very traumatic carriage accident that left her leg severely injured to the point where she can barely walk on it. And it's very painful for her to walk on her leg as well. And so she had been engaged to Michael, who is a duke at the time. And so because of how bad this injury was, she knew that she couldn't be the wife and the duchess that he deserved. And so she pushed him away. She sent him away. She hasn't seen him since. So now it's present day, a couple years later, like I said, and her and her brother get snowed in basically on their way to her brother's wife. She's about to give birth to their second child. And so they have no choice but to go stay with Michael, our hero. And so they haven't seen each other in a couple of years. And there's just a lot of pain between Clara and Michael. And they still very much love each other. But Clara feels that she just has no life anymore. And she's just a burden to the people that she loves and the people in her life. And so she's in a horrible place, you know, mentally. And Michael just doesn't know what to do to, you know, rekindle their relationship and to even be friends with her again, let alone they were engaged in the past, you know? So I'm already obsessed with this. I already feel so much for these characters. I love both the hero and heroine already. And like I said, I love an icy heroine paired up with like a cinnamon roll hero. I just want these characters to be happy, you know? I've already teared up a couple times reading this. And like I said, I'm only 15% of the way through. So this is definitely gonna be a very emotional reading experience, but I'm very excited to jump right on in. So yeah, with that being said, I'll talk to you guys later. Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm actually in the middle of editing this vlog and I'm wearing the best Christmas sweater ever. I'll show you. So it has Buddy the Elf and it says, OMG Santa, I know him. This was a sweater that one of my sisters gave to me last Christmas, so I knew that I needed to wear it for this Christmas. And I actually have a visitor here. Lena, come here. Come here, baby. Yeah. Whoa, here we go. Here she is. I know I featured her in a clip earlier in the week, but oh, she's clinging on to me. But this is Lena Lou, my niece. And so yeah, we had a good chill Christmas. Christmas is never like a huge deal in my family. Like we get together for Christmas dinner at lunchtime, and then we kind of go our separate ways for the rest of the day. And what else was I gonna say? So yeah, we came back here and we played this game that's kind of like Cards Against Humanity. It's called like Awkward Family Photos. It kind of reminds me of What Do You Meme, which is a game that I really love. I'll put you down, baby girl. So yeah, it was just a pretty chill Christmas. We actually did something kind of different this year with our family get together, where we did White Elephant, and it was a fun time. But I do have a couple of gifts to show you guys. So my sister-in-law got me this really cute bookmark that like goes on the corner of a page. I've never had one of these before. This is really pretty. It has my first initial and like pretty flowers on it. Love that. And then my mom gifted me a copy of Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent, which is book 1 in the War of Lost Hearts series. This is a fantasy romance trilogy, and this was on my Amazon wish list, but I'm gonna show you guys the naked hardback because it's beautiful. Look at this design. I love like the butterflies and the snake. Like that's really cool. I heard about this series from Rachel from Raven Haired Reader. I found her channel a couple months ago, and I love her reading blog. She really loves reading fantasy romance, and so she's made me really excited to read more fantasy romance. So very excited to have this in my collection for sure. And then just a quick update about How the Duke Saved Christmas by Anna Harrington. I ended up giving this 5 stars. I loved this, and the main reason why I gave this 5 stars was because of Michael the hero. So my Goodreads review for this book is literally 1 sentence. You can go and find it. And it's something like, I think I would die if I found a man that loved me the way that Michael loves Clara. He's amazing. I'm just obsessed with him, and this story is just like so adorable and emotional. I know I talked about this a bit in my last update. And basically what's happening is that Clara ends up having to stay with Michael at his estate because her brother Anthony, who was originally staying with her at Michael's estate, he has to go back to his home because his wife is about to give birth. And so it's this whole snowed in forced proximity deal. And so it's forcing Clara and Michael to talk out their issues, you know, really get to the bottom of why she ended their engagement and why she left him and all of that. And I really liked how those discussions happened earlier in the book. I've read some romances where those like tough conversations don't happen until like way later in the book, and that's always frustrating to me. So I feel like that really needed to happen to start the healing of their relationship, as well as the healing of Clara's mental health, because that's a huge thing in this story, is that she's become a recluse. She is definitely not living a full life anymore because of so much that she's lost because of that carriage accident. And so she basically just doesn't even know how to go on living. And so through being forced to stay at Michael's estate, and he's also looking after his 4 nieces and nephews. So these adorable kids are also helping Clara heal mentally, and it's just adorable because they're, you know, completely decorating the house for Christmas and doing all these fun wintry activities together. And so through that, basically Michael and Clara mend their relationship. And like I said, just adorable and emotional for sure. I definitely teared up numerous times reading this, and I highly recommend it. Like I said, I gave it 5 stars. This is just a really great Christmassy historical romance. There was even an author's note at the very end where Anna Harrington discussed the history of Christmas and kind of debunking common myths and beliefs about how Christmas was celebrated in the UK back in this time period. This does take place in the Regency era. So yeah, really enjoy this for sure. I gotta go back to editing this vlog. This is gonna take me forever because I already have like an hour of raw footage to edit, plus however many minutes this clip is gonna be. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Definitely a very eventful week. I had a fun time for sure. And I would love it if you guys would leave a comment down below if you want to discuss any of the books that I brought up in this video. If you want to give me recommendations, I always love when you guys give me recommendations. And with all that being said, I would love it if you would leave a like and subscribe. And I thank you so much in advance if you do. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!